Good morning everybody and welcome to Bohemia and the Holy Roman Empire. Get your goddamn hands off me, you fucking peasants! Our story began in the quaint little village of Skalitz, or more specifically on a bench in the kitchen slash bedroom slash living room slash everything of the local blacksmith in the quaint little village of Skalitz. After a night out, our hero Henry is awoken by his mother. Having answered a couple of questions to determine our starting stats, we are sent out to help our father to finish a sword for the local lord, Suradzig. After having picked up every piece of food we can get our grubby hands on, we are told to pick up a crossguard from the castle and collect some money from our neighbors so we can buy some coal for the furnace. That didn't sound too difficult, so we got going. Having collected a crossguard from the castle and explored a bit, we tried to get our cash. And naturally, the guy didn't want to pay up. Seeing that he was living in squalor, there was only one thing we could do. We tried to beat it out of him. Because if one guy can get away with not paying his debts because he doesn't have any money, no one will pay because they don't have any money. So, in order to send a message to the rest of the village, we had to bust his kneecaps. What we hadn't counted on, however, was the fact that he had been drinking all day, rendering him basically impervious to the beating we tried to administer, and maybe we got our ass kicked. Just a smidgen. Well, fuck! Having been patched up by our mother, we decided to use our brains instead of our brawn. Finding our friends at the village tavern, I convinced them to help me teach the old man a lesson, because if violence didn't solve your problems, you simply didn't use enough violence. But since nothing in this world is free, I first had to help them throw some shit on a German's newly whitewashed house, because he smack-talked the king, which, knowing what we know about world history, probably wasn't a very good idea. So we throw some shit, beat up the German son and his friends who caught us in the act, flee from the local guards, and do what groups of young men has done since time immemorial. We gang up on the elderly. After the beating, we took everything the guy had, which quite frankly left a lot to be desired since we still didn't have enough cash to buy the coal we needed. So we had a choice to make. Either we could find more stuff to sell, like the food we took from our house, or we could gamble. Okay, we just lost half of our money, which means that we now actually really have to gamble in order to get this coal. Yeah, fuck yes. Okay, we won. Now we just double down while we're ahead and it's gonna work out. It's gonna be fine. 36 minutes later, and having almost lost everything about 3 times, we were rolling in the money. And they say that gambling never pays out, the fools! Having gotten the coal, we sparred with some dude with wooden swords, helped dad at the forge, oogled one of the local girls, embarrassed ourselves in front of the lord, the village got attacked, and our parents fucking died. All in all, shit was going downhill pretty fast. Literally. We were literally running downhill because the gates to the castle had been closed, so we had to skedaddle before the savage horde savaged my... well, you get it. We picked some poppies, saved the local girl from before, took a horse, got shot in the leg, and fucked off. After an epic chase scene, we eventually arrived at Talmberg, where this mustache-clad dude decides to fix us up using all of the advanced medical techniques that Middle Ages has to offer. Oh god, I don't think this is a very good... We then talked to the local lord named Sir Divish about how awful it all was, stole all the food in his kitchen, witnessed something that we probably shouldn't have, got hit on by the lady of the house who is lonely, watched as Suradzig and other cowards from the castle in Skalitz went by after having slunk out in the middle of the night, and then we get put on guard duty by Sir Robart, which I actually accept, because frankly I'm afraid what he might do to my body if I refuse. In the morning we try to return to Skalitz to bury our parents, but we can't leave. So we broke into the armory and put together a clever disguise. Yes, no one's gonna recognize me with this on. I am truly a master of stealth. God damn it. Having fooled the local guards at the gate, we walked all the way back to Skalitz, where we looked for survivors, killed some looters, and eventually found our dead parents who were still dead, which frankly was a relief, because having to double tap people with a crossbow so they wouldn't turn into zombies sounds like a lot of work. God, can you imagine being in a zombie apocalypse during the Middle Ages? Like double tapping zombies with a crossbow would fucking suck. Anyway, before we could bury our parents, we had to get a shovel. We looked around a bit, found this guy looting a body we had already looted, and called him a fucking weirdo, because Henry is nothing if not a hypocrite. But since they hadn't invented glass houses yet, I guess it's fine. Hey, who goes around looting bodies? That's fucked up. I would never do such a thing. We chased the guy off, made sure that we hadn't missed anything, and dug some graves. But before we could put our parents in them, we were interrupted by what can only be referred to as the antagonist. He was clad in all black armor and wielded a massive fucking stick. Fuck, someone's overcompensating. Knowing that my sword skills left much to be desired, I killed one of his friends out of spite before I got my head bashed in and my sword stolen. But before we could leave this dirty, smelly, and frankly god-awful place behind and embrace the sweet, sweet release of death, we got saved by the local girl from before, and the rope part and some other guys helped, I guess. Fine, I guess I'll fucking live, goddammit. And that was the end of the prologue. So, to summarize the story so far, everything has gone to shit. 1 week later, we wake up at a local girl who saved us and her grumpy criminal uncle's place. I promised to pay him back for all the healing he gave me and get a dog companion, whom I will repeatedly beat for the rest of the game. Anyway, we run through the city, speak to a bunch of lords about what happened, tell Sir Radzig I will get his sword back, he tells us to serve in the town guard, fight the drunk dude again, fight this guy and steal his shoes, accidentally sleep in the grumpy criminal uncle's bed, causing him to freak the fuck out, train with this dude, learn how to shoot with a bow and arrow, and get challenged for an archery competition by this guy, Lord Capon, which we naturally won. Yeah, eat fucking shit, Lord Capon, you fucking nerd! And he didn't take it very well, so he challenged us to a duel to save some face. I eventually win that as well, cementing in my mind that I am an excellent sword fighter, so I naturally decided to join the local tournament to get some cash, thinking there was gonna be a walk in the park having just beaten the shit out of a lord. I don't want to brag, my guy, but I just beat Lord Tampon, so do you really think you stand a chance against me? Oh, fuck, I guess it did stand a chance against me. We got completely obliterated. But that wasn't the worst part. We also lost the $60 we had paid to get in. Fuck, we also lost the money. That fucking hurts worse than the beating. God damn. With our ego bruised, we then had to go on a hunt with Lord Tampon because we had gotten into a fist fight during my town guarding. And as punishment, we had to go hunting together and make up. And to no one's surprise, it naturally turned into a competition on who could decimate the local rabbit population the most. And as you might know if you watched the last video, population control is something of a hobby of mine. So, having spent a surprisingly relaxing morning in the woods genociding rabbits, the young Lord Capon gets captured by some humans, the guys that attacked my village earlier in the game. So we kill the humans, loot up, feed the dog, and eventually untie the guy, making us best friends forever. Having dragged his ass back to town, gotten praised by the other lords, Bernard storms in and tells us the local horse factory had been attacked by some bandits. So they give us our first horse named Pebbles and tells us to go check it out. But since I was carrying around the meat of several rabbit families and some gear I took from the humans, I decided that the horses could wait, and instead went to sell our stuff before it went bad. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? Yeah, Bernard might have overreacted just a little bit. Ooh, we might have caught some of the bandits. Yeah, fucking right, Bernard. It fucking happened last night, not fucking 30 minutes ago, you weirdo. Well, shit. Having dispatched the bandits in the woods, one of which had a hoofpick lodged in his stomach, we west around a bit. It turns out that the bandits hadn't been interested in looting and just wanted to kill shit. You know, boys will be boys. We get pointed to a guy named Ginger, who conveniently have fucked off during the attack. They tell us that he usually hangs out with a bunch of charcoal burners in the woods nearby. When we eventually find the burners, they tell us that some other shady dudes have been there before me, also looking for Ginger, and that I have to take care of them before they will tell me where he is. So, being the nice guy that I am, I go and try to kill them. Unfortunately for me, however, facing more than one opponent at a time in this game is a death sentence, and I die horribly. Thankfully, I had saved just before, and armed with the knowledge of the future, I shoot one of them in the face before executing his friend. Having looted up, I tell the burners that the coast is clear and went to talk to Ginger. He tells us that the bandits had been fighting amongst themselves and that one of them had recognized him, which is why he had run away. He doesn't know the name of the guy, but he tells us that he has a limp and lives in a nearby village. But before we can go and track down Limpy, he asks us if we could go and ask the horse farmers to take him back. I told him that I would, and don't come back as a epic prank. Went to attend a tournament, lost said tournament, and bought ourselves a morning star, because a sword is an elegant weapon, signifying status wealth, and honor. And I want the thing that guarantees traumatic brain injury with each swing. What did a mace say to the face? We then went about finding our limping man. But unfortunately, someone had gotten to him before us. I mean, it could have been an accident. We can't rule out anything at this point. There was some text above the body, but being a peasant, we can't read it. So we learn how to read, talk to the local priest, party with the local priest, fight off the bailiff and his goons with the local priest, hold a fire and brimstone sermon in place of the local priest, and then the local priest tells us that Limpy had a friend named Reek, but instead of going off looking for him straight away, we went looking for a missing horse. During our search, we came across a big fight, died, found the horse, beat another guy who also found the horse to death with my new morning star, got a third horse to deliver to the lonely lady in Talberg, attended the tournament again, won one fight, then lost, took Teresa to the tavern in the rain because we're fucking savages, beat another guy to death with my morning star for muscling in on my turf, got called a hero, and then we went to find our limpy boy. He was in something of a state. He tells me about yet another dude named Timmy who works at a windmill. Having put Ricky out of his misery and tracked down the windmill in question, we were once again a little bit too late. Being confronted by several ruffians, we tell them that Timmy is hiding in town, and then we beat the man they left behind to watch us to death with our mace, because I have authority problems. When we finally tracked down Timmy, I was losing my patience. Having to track down 4 separate people to find a bandit camp is a bit much in my opinion, but we got there in the end. He tells us that the bandit camp is to the north of Talberg. We then told Sir Enzig what we had learned and went to find the camp. On a journey through the forest, we once again run into a big fight with several well-armed ruffians and some town guards. Seeing an opportunity to bang myself some pretty serious loot, I get stuck in and die about 4 times. Among the loot, we found a full plate of armor, which I was pretty fucking happy about. Oh baby, fuck yes! Since we were now laden with loot, we decided to head back to town to sell it all. Having almost concluded our selling spree and having been called Sir Knight by a lot of people, which I didn't mind, we ran into a guy whom we early in the game had passed over when helping the bailiff hand out jobs carrying stuff. He naturally wasn't very happy with me, so we brawled it out. And since we were now clad in full plate armor, we might have had a little bit of an advantage. Oh, you fucking bitch, no fucking peasants can hurt me! Having won the fight, we participated in the tournament once again, won our first fight and once again lost the second one. Fuck! Fuckity fuck, shit, ass! We then tried to convince some local heretics to fuck off, so the priest looking for someone to burn wouldn't do something stupid. They naturally refused no matter what I did, which might have taxed my patience just a little bit. Why won't you just fucking do what's right? Fuck you! Fuck your husband, fuck your entire cult, fuck the priest, fuck everyone. Having killed them and the priest repeatedly, I turned them in to be burned at the stake, and got myself a sweet sword as a reward. Not how I wanted it to play out, but some people are just determined to fucking burn. Then we splashed out on some fancy new clothes and went to see Teresa again. We played the blind man's bluff in the barn, which I won by the way, because if you think I'm gonna let her win because she's a woman and we might bang, you are dead wrong, bucko. And then we banged, and you better believe that I won that as well. Having fooled around enough, it was time to crack on with the main quest. So we went back into the woods north of Talberg to find the bandit camp. On the way there, we came across a strange man just standing in our way. Turns out that he and his 5 peasant friends wanted my shit, so I gave it to them. A couple of seconds later, the peasants were all dead, and we had barely taken any damage at all. All that dying we did earlier to get our hands on this sweet armor had truly paid off. We carried on, and soon we found the bandit encampment. The route up to it was guarded, so we snuck around and found a way in from the back. Put on some cumin armor we found to blend in, which kinda didn't work, looted a bunch of shit and tried our hands at some sabotage. Unfortunately, we almost got caught, so eventually I just decided to take a look around, kill some of the dudes by kiting them away from the camp, and just rush through the camp, sabotaging shit and get the fuck out. Having returned to Sir Radzig, we tell him that we are basically fucked, and he asks us to go ask the other lords for some backup. But before we do that, we decide to wrap up some side stuff, because you know, a Benedict camping ain't that bad, right? On the way to pick up a crown for Lady Talmberg, we were once again attacked by a bunch of peasants. They were soon taken care of as well. We then made it to Sasau, talked to the guy with the crown, who naturally didn't have it because the guy with the gem was missing. So we had to go and find him. Having finally found a place to sleep for the night, we set out at first light. Found the guy who had been brutally murdered by some ruffians, killed said ruffians, and returned with the gem. Now we had the better part of 2 days to kill before the crown was finished. So we sold some stuff we had lying around. After that, we went to the biggest monastery at the edge of town. Solved a crime involving fake devil heads, attempted murder, stone theft, and worst of all, a crime of passion. The crown was ready, and we went to deliver it to Lady Talmberg, who was very appreciative of our help. Having helped his wife, we went straight to Lord Talmberg and got things going. We stormed the bandit camp, had a pretty cool fight, killed some dudes, and despite wanting to loot everything around us, I decided to do it later and focus on the task at hand. Eventually, after having killed several people, we find ourselves face to face with the guy that stole my sword in the beginning. He didn't recognize us at first, which was kinda rude, but what can you do? We had a short sword fight where I don't do a lot of damage to him since he's a big boy in some pretty hefty armor, but fortunately he doesn't wear a helmet. So after a lucky strike to the face, we bash his head in on the floor and decided to call it a day. Having thrown up a bit, I looked forward to all the shit I was about to loot and all the money we would make. After a brief cutscene, we found ourselves back in town. No! No, my fucking loot! No, what? We immediately made our way back to the bandit camp to see if there was anything left. Being ambushed 3 separate times on our way there, we find that the camp is completely empty. Fuck! They even took the fucking food pots. What the fuck? And that's where I decided to call it for this one. Kingdom Come Deliverance was actually like a breath of fresh air. Sure, the combat system is a bit wonky and I'll probably never be good at it, but just riding around the countryside, hunting rabbits and bashing into heads of poachers really made me appreciate the experience. And with that, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and for all the new subscribers lately, you guys are fucking awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.